Hello, everyone. We are here for a special sponsor spotlight interview. I'm here with Mike Major, who has sponsored Experience Corps at our Kenderton School for a number of years. So thank you for doing this, first of all, and let's get started. So can you just introduce yourself with your name and your job title?
Sure. Mike, although officially it's Michael, but I go by Mike. Mike Major, Michael Major Sr. I am a senior technology business analyst for a Wall Street firm, Susquehanna International Group, or SIG. I'm also the board president for Call to Serve CDC, and I'm also an associate minister at Zion Baptist Church.
Great. And where are you from originally?
I was born and raised in Philadelphia. In fact, in the shadows of Zion, specifically in the Nicetown Tiger section of North Philadelphia.
Great. So can you tell us a little bit about your program, Called to Serve?
Sure. So since I know about the follow-up will be about the history, I'll talk about our core programs. So we're really about economics and education, which is really why we're talking. So I'll begin with economics. We're trying to help residents in the Nicetown Tioga community obtain living wage jobs or life family sustaining jobs that lead to a career pathway. We do this through our aptly named program, Jobs for People and People for Jobs, leading to career pathways. The objective is to identify residents who are underemployed or unemployed while also building relationships with employers who have jobs and careers. And then the objective is to put the two together. We also have relationships with organizations who do training that we can then fill in that gap where a person wants a job or is in need of a job, but doesn't have the skill to fill the job. And so we're able to both get the employers to commit at some level, but at the same time, what employers are also getting from us is we coach employees. So after being placed, we also stay with them while they're on the job to help with that transition as well. We also, on the economic front, work very closely with the Philadelphia Commerce Department as we collectively seek to revitalize the broad Germantown and area commercial corridor. The objective there is to provide people with both a place where they can work if we're able to get businesses going on the commercial corridor, but also a place to secure and shop for goods and services. This will go somewhat into my history, but I'm from the area. And so I know growing up what the avenues, what we used to call it, the commercial corridor, where I worked, got my first job at a supermarket. We had 2 fresh meat markets. And so the whole idea is to have that be replicated again in the 21st century. And then on the education front, which is really what brings us together, it's really about trying to provide a viable quality education opportunity for families in the Nicetown Tiger community. I happen to have gone to Kenderton. I played basketball in Bethune, and my wife is actually a graduate of Kenderton Elementary School. So we've got a deep commitment and deep roots with both of the schools.
Great. And then can you tell us a little bit about the history and origins of Called to Serve?
Sure. So we were formed in 2014 with what I would describe as 2 fundamental thoughts or objectives. One, as a Christian, I believe that we're called to provide and to be a visible and tangible representative or example of the love of Jesus Christ that people are able to see. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only son." And so people could see his love by virtue of him giving Jesus as our Savior. And so the intention behind Call to Serve is so that people can see what we're doing and the lives that are being changed because of our work as a measurable example of the love of Christ. Secondly, and I realize that I am where I am because of the ministry and the work of Reverend Leon Sullivan, one of the civil rights leaders, and those who worked with him at Zion Baptist Church. So my family and others at different places along in my life as well were also influential in helping me to get to where I am today. So in other words, I am where I am because someone helped me. I didn't get there by myself. And so I view our work as an organization as a collective way for me to say thank you. So because of where I am today. I've got a good job, nice house, 2 degrees, but I realized that none of that did I get all by myself. So Call to Serve exists to, in some ways, replicate my story for boys and girls, men and women living in Nicetown, Tioga, but also anywhere in the city of Philadelphia that we're able to help.
Great. And like you said, we're here because of our shared interest in education. So what are your goals as they relate to education for Call to Serve?
Fundamentally, a few years ago, there was a school called Penn Alexander that served the University of Pennsylvania, and people would literally sleep for days to get their child into Penn Alexander. So I would love to see at some point Bethune and Kenderton in particular be viewed in that way, that the level of education that students are getting would be at that same level. And so I realized that unfortunately, I don't say unfortunately, but education is also about resources. And so how then from a community perspective, can schools like that be provided with the resources to help make them successful? And so our goal is to partner with the principals. After all, they're the ones with the boots on the ground. And so when I began Call to Serve, it began with a question to the then principal at Bethune: how can we help you do your job? And so as other principals have come to the school, that same questions are posed to them. Want to help you do your job and help the students to become successful. So in the end, I'd love to see, as I said, both of those schools start as highly and as well regarded, with students who are coming out who are achieving at a level that would put them against anybody in the country.
Great. And how did you learn about Experience Corps?
Well, I was thinking about that, and I'm not sure if somebody told me about it or it was through a web search. My day job, has me doing a lot of data analysis, and so I'm a researcher by nature. And so literally, I may have been scouting around and trying to find a program. Prior to linking up with Experience Corps, we had a program called Reading Buddies, where I was recruiting people to go in and work with and read with the students in grades kindergarten to second grade. So the framework and the idea was already in place. And so once I found this program, it then allowed us to do it in a much more strategic way.
Okay. And like I said earlier, you sponsored our Kenderton program for a number of years. What motivates you to continue sponsoring the Experience Corps program at Kenderton?
I think in the end, I view reading as foundational. And so a child who has difficulty reading at an early age becomes an adult with reading challenges. And so if I can't read, then when it comes time to fill out a job application or applying for a mortgage, I mean, there's just so much that we need as adults to live as adults, that reading becomes one of those things that really allow you to have a part. And doesn't mean that it's not overcomable, but in the end, it really becomes a part of the foundation of being a successful adult. And so children who learn how to read at an early age can at least have that in their toolbox when they become an adult.
And what are your opinions on the benefits of older adults being literacy tutors and mentors for young students, be it the benefits for the adults and the students?
I love the idea. As I mentioned, we kind of began with Reading Buddies. And so the idea really, I think, first of all, from the older adult's perspective, it allows them to remain engaged and to still feel useful, if you will, and provide and contribute in a very meaningful way, even after they reach retirement age. And so they can add things to children's lives that they really need. At the same time, it allows a child to get one-on-one or small group nurturing that they may not always be able to get depending on their home situation. I'll be 60 years old tomorrow, and I still remember my times with my grandmother when I was a child. And so to the extent that we can create that kind of relationship, that kind of bond with older adults and children, we really can, I think, achieve a great thing for everybody on both fronts.
And you already talked about this a little bit, but do you have any other thoughts on what makes education and specifically literacy so important?
Well, I think I come from being a child of the civil rights movement, and really growing up at a time where education was something that we did not, think back to slavery times, reading and education for Black people was not something that was put out there. And so I grew up at a time where there was a push to be educated. And so to some extent, I view it as one of, not the only, but one of the great equalizers. And once you have it, it can be taken away from you. And so while a college degree is no guarantee, the data out there says statistically that with a college degree, you're more likely to earn way more money. Not that that's the only measurement, but at the same time, again, trying to put people in position to be successful. And so literacy and reading really becomes a foundation to help make all that stuff happen.
Yeah. So those are all the questions I have about our various programs and about education. So now I'll just ask a couple to get to know you a little bit. What do you like to do in your free time?
Well, actually, can we go back? Because one of the questions I really wanted to answer was you talked about what are your proudest accomplishments with Call to Serve?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I missed that. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So in 2018, we rented, and I want to begin with thanking for our supporters. I mean, at the end of the day, Call to Serve, our product is helping people, but we're able to do that because of our sponsors and our supporters. And so to all of you who out there who have supported us over the years and who are going to hear this video, just know that we're able to do what we do because of your support. And so in 2018, my daughter, who's a professor at Howard, she led an effort. We rented out an entire movie theater, rented a couple of buses, and took the middle school students from Kennerton to see the movie, the Black Panther movie for Black History Month. We've also hosted the Hour of Code, where we taught both student bodies at Bethune and Kennerton over a 2-day period how to write computer coding. So my background is coding, and so it was particularly dear to me to see that happen. We've also sponsored a MESA, Math, Engineering, and Science achievement team who placed second at Temple University. The team built a robot car that was sensed moisture in soil. They prepared a poster, and they also made a presentation. So it's pretty cool to see that happen. And then also it's sponsoring this program. In the end, to see and to know that we're participating as well. The district itself has a goal of every child by the age of 8 that they're at grade level. And so there are studies out there that talks about for underserved communities and how the disparity around reading and how many words a child hears by the time they get to age 3. And so your program really kind of helps to supplement that.
Yeah. And I'm sorry I missed that question. I'm glad you remembered, because those are great accomplishments. So now, what do you like to do in your free time?
My family will tell you that I really enjoy helping people. And so most of my non-work day job in my free time goes to moving Call to Serve forward. Its mission with a clear focus on improving lives in a very meaningful way. So most of my free time goes to that. Okay.
And where's your favorite place to go or visit in Philadelphia?
Monica and I love to eat out. And so having a good meal with a group of friends at a restaurant, we've enjoyed the Bynum Brothers, the chain Relish and or Soul, to name a few places. But then we're also big family people. And so really having people here at the house, just hanging out, playing games, we also enjoy doing that as well. So I could also define a favorite place as my house as well, when there are people here.
Okay. And last question, what has been your favorite pandemic or socially distant activity?
A couple of months ago, my church, we hosted a Zoom trivia night. We all had a great time. And so we've done a couple of events like that where even though I'm on Zoom every day for work, just being able to get and hang out with people and reconnect with them, even if it's, as you said, socially distanced, has really been very meaningful as well.
Okay, great. And Mike, thank you so much for doing this and for sponsoring our program. Would you like to tell people where they can learn more about Call to Serve?
Sure. You can go to our website, www.calltoserve.cdc.org.
Great. And we can put the link in on the post as well. So again,
Okay.
thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you. Okay.